Usually I like to give credit to libertarians for having a little bit of intellect. I mean, just really a little bit, but a little bit. Not a lot. You can often find a crumb of wisdom in their babbling every once.
Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? And hopefully there'll be a little bit of wisdom in my babbling today. Here I am, paranoid again. Make sure I don't have lipstick on my teeth. No, I wanted to make sure. You know I should check that before the show, but I never do. So I hope you are doing well. Let me do the YouTube stuff and then we will get right into it. If you're new here, you've watched a few times. I guess if you're new, you can wait till the end to decide if you want to hit like and subscribe. But I'd really appreciate it, particularly if you haven't done that yet and you've been watching for a while, or do it for Lucy. We got the Lucy cam here. And oh my God, look at that face. How could you not hit like and subscribe with that face right there? she's back to whatever she's doing with the blanket. But you can, again, subscribe, as I said, but you can also follow me on Twitter, Karen Ann Harlos. It usually is a bit spicy. And last but certainly not least, you can support me on Patreon, which is patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. And as usual, all super chats matter, as do super thanks. And I see Ruben in chat. Yes, I repinked my hair. It's quite bright. I don't need my studio lights when I have this hair going on. But I didn't do my nails in a wild color. It's just nude. That's kind of different for me. But anyway, what are we talking about today? So, it's so easy to get into a bubble of what you watch. Now, I critique right-wing commenters a lot. So I watch a lot of right-wing commenters, as you saw from the Matt Walsh clip that started this thing out. But the show is not about Matt Walsh. I just thought that clip was funny. And I wanted to do some libertarian babbling. I already get mad enough at right-wing stuff that I don't have to watch there my hand keeps going into the Lucy frame. I need to start using this one. I don't need to watch very many more left-wing commenters to get talking points. Now, of course, I get really pissed off at the left as well, but the right is in power right now. So you speak truth to power, but you can go back through my channel. I do critique the left as well because I'm a babbling libertarian, don't agree with either. But it was so interesting. I decided to watch a couple more, well, not more, definitely left-wing commentary shows about Trump because the headlines intrigued me. And when I was watching these, I was just gobsmacked about how easy it is to get into a bubble. Now, I'm not right-wing, so I'm not like lapping up the right-wing talking points. I'm getting mad at them. Excuse me, I drink a soda too fast. But like I put myself in the place of just the average person, and I watched this information I was getting from left-wing sources about Trump, and I'm like, this hasn't even been mentioned in at least more of the mainstream right-wing stuff that I've been watching. For instance, Trump has had quite a few signs of cognitive decline. Now, I hadn't seen any of those clips on right-wing media. And in watching left-wingers, they are absolutely correct in saying if any of these had been Joe Biden, we would have never heard the end of it. Now, it's true. Joe Biden was Weekend at Bernie's. He was done checked out. I don't wish the end of life on anyone, but I am surprised he made it to the end of term. Like, mad props to you, I guess, because He's what happens when the brain dies, but the body keeps on living. You know what I mean? But while I don't like Trump and I think he's obnoxious, I had never really heard any concerns about his mental acuity. Now, he's officially the oldest president that ever was. So it's almost to be expected. But all you keep hearing from the right wing side is rah, rah, look how strong he is. Brr, all of that. But I have a couple clips here. Now, I didn't take the really picky ones. Like, there were some clips where it was Trump, and I don't think it was, like, necessarily signs of dementia. It was more him, just maybe he needs to use a teleprompter more. Like, when he said when he went to vote, he had to give them his license plate. I think that was just a slip of the tongue. It happens to everyone. But he was also saying how you have to show ID when you buy groceries. Yeah, unless you're still paying with a check, that's not a thing, dude. Can you imagine? This left-wing show even said, you're, I don't know what example they use, but you're going in to buy a bag of oranges and you got an ID for that? You got an ID for those oranges? So I decided not to use those, okay? But I found two that are of a theme. And before we play them, I also wanted to bring up what it was, a psychologist, I don't know, some kind of mental health Alzheimer's person who had talked about when older people are going into mental decline. There are two main types. One would be like what you saw with Biden, where he just gets confused, but like, oh, he didn't know where he was going. He had to be guided around by Dr. Jill. But then you have the people who are starting to lose it, and they get aggressive and they get angry. Now, I had never personally experienced that, but I had heard of that from people who work in nursing homes and stuff, that some elderly persons, when they're starting to, get dementia, they get aggressive and angry. And Trump is very aggressive and angry, like even more so than the first term. So could that be a sign, or could that just be his personality? Who knows? But I noticed that Tex Arcus, had said like the rumors about him being dead was a new level of stupidity. I don't know about that. Like, I didn't think he was dead. But I didn't think he was dead, but I do think something is going on. That dude, being in front of the camera to him is like a fish being in water. Like, he lives for that, for him to disappear. And now we know he does have health problems. That's to be expected. Now, I'm not saying for his age he's not healthy, but he's got, that leg swelling issue. He's got circulatory problems. You've seen that bruising. Now, maybe you haven't. If any of you, not any of, any particular viewer watches his right-wing media, you don't see that. Like, it wasn't until I started watching more left-wing stuff of what bad shape his hand is in. It's like completely bruised up. And the speculation is this is from frequent IVs. Because you can get an IV in your hand. When I need an IV, a lot of times, or even blood drawn, sometimes they have to do it from my hand because I got tiny little veins. In any event, it doesn't look good. And pictures of him from the past few days haven't looked good. But whatever. Maybe he's just not feeling well. So I'm going to play these two clips. And both of them are about the Ukraine and kidnapped Ukrainian children. The allegation is that Russians kidnapped some Ukrainian children. Not just some, like a large amount. not getting into the whole thing with the Ukraine war, just dealing that this is what the subject was. I feel like I got to sneeze again. It's so dusty down here. Excuse me. Every time I come down here, I feel like I stir up dust, like my nose starts running and I need to sneeze. I'm going to probably need to get an air purifier down here. So one of these clips is from March. So it's going back a little bit. And one of them's more recent, I think within the past month. The more recent one is the one we're going to play first. We're going to let it play, and then I'll come back for commentary. I want to make sure my mic gets muted during this part, but let's go to the first clip. Crap, I forgot the context. See, you might say I'm going through dementia. I forgot what the event is, but you'll recognize it. There's a caption on the bottom that says what the event is. But he's being asked about Ukrainian kidnapped children.
Every single child has to go back to its family. This should be one of our main priorities also in these negotiations, to make sure that the children come back to Ukraine, to their families.
Thank you. And we did. I was just thinking we're here for a different reason, but we just a couple of weeks ago made the largest trade deal in history. So that's a big thing, and congratulations. That's great. Thank you very much, Ursula. Mr. Chancellor from Germany, a very great leader.
Now I want to stop 1 second because I was pumping up the volume on that, but I want you to listen to it again. Because, you know, when you're listening the first time, you might not hear it. Now, you have the lady asking about the Ukrainian children. Listen closely to his response.
Every single child has to go back to its family. This should be one of our main priorities also in these negotiations, to make sure that the children come back to Ukraine, to their families.
Thank you. And we did. I was just thinking we're here for a different reason, but we just a couple of weeks ago made the largest trade deal in history. So that's a big thing, and congratulations. That's great. Thank you very much, Ursula. Mr. Chancellor from Germany, a very great leader.
Okay, just let that sink in a bit. I don't care how much of a Trump fan you are. That clip was disturbing. Because maybe there's 3 potentials. One is that the dude done lost the plot. That's very good. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for what? I was just asking you about Ukrainian kidnapped children, and you go off into, yes, and we just made the biggest trade deal, and it's fantastic. This bigly trade deal, and congratulations. Thank you very much. Congratulations for what? Being concerned about Ukrainian children, and you pivot to talking about a trade deal? So, lost the plot, or 2, he just didn't care and just very callously went on to something he was interested in. Oh, Ukrainian children. Yeah, them. By the way, this trade deal, those are the 2 main options. I will give a third one. A third one was that he was just woefully unprepared, which there is some indication of that, where it's like, well, I thought we were here for something else. But this isn't an obscure, this isn't a what is Aleppo moment. Okay, this is something that has been at the forefront of discussions. It wasn't asking you to name some town in Syria that everyone who pretended like they knew where it was Googling it the next morning, and all of a sudden were experts on Aleppo. But there's a woman with her heartfelt concern about Ukrainian children. Yes, we just made the greatest trade deal, and congratulations. What? I just... And this was recent. None of those 3 options are flattering. If he wasn't prepared, he's not exempt. 1 and 3 are kind of the same. If and 3 just doesn't seem an option. So he starts with, I thought we were going to talk about something else. Then you don't pivot to a trade deal. You address the subject, acknowledging that you might not be as prepared as you ordinarily would be because you're prepared to talk about something else, but you express sympathy, you express some kind of concern. You don't pivot to this trade deal. Dude, oh my word, that was bad. Oh, now we got another one. Again, this one's from March, talking about the Ukrainian children. We might play this one twice too. I can't remember how long it was, and I need to check the volume levels, but here we go.
Can I ask another question on Ukraine? You recently mentioned the fate of all the Ukrainian children abducted and transported to Russia.
Right.
So are you demanding that Russia return these kids to their families in Ukraine?
Well, it's one of the things that we're talking about. I know that no decision's been made. We're talking about territory right now. We're talking about lines of demarcation. We're talking about power plant ownership. Some people are saying the United States should own the power plant and then work it that way because we have the expertise to fix it up, et cetera, et cetera. It's okay. That would something like that would be fine with me. But
At least he acknowledged her question, but he then pivots to talking about territory and power plants, and some people think like he spent a portion on what was actually asked about you returning Ukrainian children, and then raw strap, and then he just goes on about a power plant. Now, in that one, he seemed cognitive of what she asked. That the first one made him seem cognitively impaired, honestly. And that one was more recent. This one just makes him look like a callous SOB that only cares about what he wants to talk about and not what other people want to talk about. And sometimes what other people want to talk about is dumb. But when you're talking about kidnapped children, A, that's not dumb. And B, like, you show a bit more compassion than oh my word. I'm going to put your comment up, Texarchus. So he's like, I remember reading about how Trump doesn't use a teleprompter. And I was reading the same thing and I thought the same thing for some of his speeches. And I was like, maybe he should. I thought so too. I'm like, this is one guy that could definitely benefit from a teleprompter. But in this kind of situation, it wouldn't help. You're being contemporaneously asked questions. So you memorize certain talking points. So in March, already the issue of the Ukrainian children was being brought up. There's no reason why he shouldn't have been prepared to talk about it more recently. So I would love to hear below. I thank everyone who's in chat talking, but no but, because but was like, yeah, I like you guys, but no, that's not what I meant. Appreciate that, but also people watching this after the fact, stick in comments like, what do you make of this? And if this was Joe Biden, please just be honest. And listen, I laughed at Joe Biden with the rest of them. If this was Joe Biden, how do you think the right-wing media would handle it? I think they would be all over it. And I think we need to start paying attention. Now, no matter how much I do not like Trump, I wish him the best of health. Do not want to see anything bad happen to anyone. But I'm going to say like I did with Biden, but Biden surprised me. I will be surprised if Trump makes it to the end of his term. Actuarially, like if you look at an actuarial table with the health issues that he has, the odds are not in his favor, to quote the Hunger Games. But I hope, may the odds be ever in your favor, and may you not be terrible from this day forward, because there's other people you'll harm, but just because someone's going to be doing that, I just can't bring it upon myself to wish ill on anyone. But that was concerning. And now I'm consuming a bit more left-wing media to get a more balanced view of what's going on. Man, if you watch Fox or Jesse Waters or Laura Ingraham, any of them, you would think Trump was Mr. Chad, instead of what we're actually seeing. Yeah, Texarchus brought up another great point. Biden got up on stage after the Covenant school shootings. We're talking about how much he loved chocolate chip ice cream. Yes, it's particularly when you're dealing with kids, man, as a politician, you got to be so careful. All right, so this was a short show. Hope you got something out of it. Speaking of Matt Walsh, though, with the babbling, I do have a pretty intensive Matt Walsh show coming up that will really get into the divide between what passes for conservatives today, or the right wing, and libertarians. The divide could never be clearer. And I'm not a Republican, but I'm going, what the heck? There is. Do not pretend like the Republican Party is conservative. They are not. They just are not. And I know people don't like me using the F word. Well, I use a lot of F words, but just like there are plenty of Democrats that I think are taking us down just a rapid plunge to socialism or communism. I know technically there's a difference between the two. I don't care. They're both equally frickin' gross. Trump is really accelerating the dive towards authoritarian fascism. Sorry, I said what I said. Okay, you guys, you have an awesome night, and hopefully I'll see you soon. I'm going camping this weekend, so there'll probably be no other shows this weekend. Tuesday, Mike and I are doing the Cult of R.O.N.R., where we're going to talk about standing rules. Oh, doesn't that sound exciting? Okay, everyone, I'm looking for my closing screen. And hey, Doug, have an awesome night. All right, everyone, bye-bye.
You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business, not because they want